gals. Welcome back to Beautiful Daughters 99. Just stumbled over my words at the very start. That's great. In my first video, my very first, way back, 2 months ago, been that long already, I was talking about, what it means to not be of the world, and then for the past 6 episodes I went into more of the body image portion of my ministry, but today I just wanted to go back into some of what I was talking about in my first video and maybe do a couple more on the sorts of topics and themes. So this is less of a body image one. But I'm going to talk about sort of the media again on I'm not going to dive too deep into specific pieces of media or anything, but just give, bits and pieces of whatever. So verses that I have here for this one are from Philippians and Proverbs. From Philippians 4:8 from the NIV. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. And from Proverbs 4:23 from the CEB, more than anything you guard, protect your mind, for life flows from it. So these are, they're sort of similar in a way, guarding your mind, what you do and say, things come from that, obviously, and also, from your heart, and in Philippians, think about things that are, good and that are uplifting and things like that. First thing I'm going to start off with is music. It's something that is always in our lives. We're walking into a store or we have our playlists and that sort of thing. It's pretty much always around us. And I'm not going to be you only ever should listen to Christian music and you can never listen to anything else, because I like some songs or even an album or two that aren't specifically Christian and that are good songs and albums and they're fine and they're enjoyable to listen to. But I also do like to listen. I don't know why I'm having a hard time with my tongue today, but I also do like to listen to Christian music, and there's a lot of good stuff out there. So, but there is, within the world of secular music, a lot of stuff that is pretty much feeding your brain trash. And I don't mean to be harsh or anything, but there is just a lot of stuff that's not really healthy to be pouring into your brain all the time. And quite a lot of, the trending and popular artists and people that have been around for maybe a while but have risen to the top of the charts lately, a lot of times, they have even some good songs and things, but there's a lot of just not good language and themes and other sorts of things like that within the music. And they have sometimes had good songs, again, not everything. I mean, I'm sure there's a couple artists that are probably everything is really bad about the music, but I mean, not every artist that has some bad music doesn't also then have some good. The main point of all that to say is you might just want to pay closer attention to what sorts of lyrics are swirling through your head and just daily what people are singing, and it's not always just, happy, great songs. Like, even if you don't pay much attention to the lyrics, it's just, it's just a catchy song, Maya. It's harmless. It's actually not always harmless. And your brain is probably picking up some of that, even if you're not really consciously thinking about it too much. And so it's just something to think about maybe more often and, look into what you're actually feeding yourself with, your mind with, your soul with, and just to be more cautious around that area of media, specifically because it's something that like we fill ourselves with every single day. TV and movies and books would like naturally come next. And these also, you're not necessarily like watching the same movie over and over again or reading the same book over and over again, the same that you would be with listening to songs over and over again. So there can be some more like adjustable space within like what you're reading and watching and stuff, because you're not like daily filling that like in your mind space. But there are just like a lot of things that really you just like should not be watching or reading. And I think like, I don't know like too much, but that's great. I don't know too much. That's, yeah. But genres like horror and romance probably have gotten like not great of more of recent days. I don't know if recent days really means like a few years or decades, but those two are probably like the most, well, I guess comedy sort of like has also fallen, but the first two things that came to my mind are like horror and romance. Horror, like, I don't know, I don't think all of it's really just like the usual like zombie apocalypse black and white movies like that are sort of weird. Like there's a lot more like thriller movies and like stuff like that, and it's sort of not like, there's more like psychology and like not necessarily like more gore than like scary like monsters would have, but like there's more like violence between like actual people. And I don't really watch horror, so I can't speak too much on it, but that's just something that like has gotten probably a lot more like dark and gross, and just something that like you would probably want to be more aware of and cautious of. Yeah, it's not really like the best genre anyway, but in my opinion, but yeah, it's just like sort of fallen into an ickier end of stuff. There are like Christian horror media though, like there is also that, which it sounds sort of funny to say that there is, but like there's some like good horror, I guess, but that's just definitely like one that is more meh. And then romance, I think for obvious reasons, there's a lot of ways that could go wrong. And I'll probably just leave that at that. But there's a lot of content in movies, and especially like books. Like I know people that like read some like specific books, and I'm like, why are you reading that? Why are you filling your head with that? Like, I'm not even sure I would really call it romance like at that point anyway, but it's just also something that like I know for a fact, like particularly within books, that maybe like you should keep a better eye on, and just to guard your mind and your heart from some pretty weird things. lastly comes social media, which can, include like Instagram and I don't know, TikTok and other things like that. I don't know. People often I'm sure you know about the scroll hole, and you keep mindlessly scrolling, and there's just a lot of weird content that people make, and I mean, I don't think most of it would probably be too disturbing necessarily, but you can just get lost and caught up, just you don't even actually know what you're watching anymore. Your brain has just been shut off, and you just keep scrolling things, and you're on social media then not even to check out anything that your friends or family are doing, but you're just looking at random people, and that can just be very destructive, and you'll have so much screen time just being poured into your eyes, and you're tired, and it can be very dangerous to just get on social media and just see something and then start going. And then also within that there's the news cycle, and there's some news that will pop up on social media, or if you're a very newsy person, that sounded sort of weird, but if you're on the news a lot, there's a lot of stuff that, I mean, some stuff can be fake, some are real, and you should be careful who's putting stuff up and what, how reliable sources actually are, because then, you have stuff going into your brain, you're oh, this thing happened, maybe actually didn't happen that way, or it could not have happened at all, but, you just pick up these random bits of things without really doing too much research on them, or you just pick up these crazy weird things that random content creators are doing, and it's just, there's a lot that goes into that, and it's all packed together, and it just can be really crazy to your mind, and even affect, I mean, all of this that I've said can affect how you're acting towards other people, and what sorts of thoughts are consuming your mind, and it can just be very dangerous. And I'm not saying you have to destroy all of your social media now, but you should maybe, again, be more cautious and aware of the stuff that you're putting into your mind, and just make sure that you're actually looking ahead to what is right and pure, and keeping guard of your mind and your hearts, and to just be aware of all of those things. So again, all the content that you consume doesn't necessarily have to be Christian. But I mean, there are generally a lot safer things that are in Christian content, though again, I mean, there could be things that are not great there either. But it is good to, whatever content you are consuming, to make sure that it's honorable to the Lord, and that you're protecting yourself from things that shouldn't be going into your mind and penetrating your heart. So with that, I think that's pretty much all that I have for you today. I thought I was going to talk for longer, but yay for you. And you can always feel free to contact me at beautifuldaughters99@gmail.com, or check out my Instagram, beautifuldaughters99. And you can comment and like and subscribe and share and everything else. And I will make sure to get back to you as soon as I can. I generally check email and comments a lot, so but yeah, and the verses again today were from Philippians 4:8 and Proverbs 4:23, if you want to take a look at those yourself. And so yeah, I think that's all that I'll leave you with for now. Just to keep those things in mind, and not necessarily be so overly strict about things, but also, don't be so overly, yay, I'm gonna go watch this, listen to this, without like thinking too much about it. So yeah, I will hopefully see you for another one. And I mentioned this a couple videos back, I'm also sort of like working on something, and I've actually worked a little bit more on that something, and hopefully I can work on it more and then share with you. So, yes, goodbye.